Joining me now is Frank Gaffney. He is the founder and president of the Center for Security Policy. Frank, has the president simply failed when it comes to Israel?
I'm afraid it's worse than that. I think he has actively undermined Israel, and as Louis Gohmert and those in the debate last night made clear, he has compounded the danger that it's facing today. And let me just cut to the chase. We can discuss the merits or demerits, the feasibility, the likelihood of a Palestinian state being unilaterally declared. What I think we've got to keep our eye on is this is just one of the straws in the wind of a gathering storm, as Winston Churchill would call it. I believe we are at the cusp, thanks entirely, but in no small measure to the way President Obama has conducted himself, we are on the cusp of the next horrific war for the survival of the state of Israel. And it will have come about in part because of the undermining of our friends, notably Israel, the emboldening of our enemies, not just Palestinians who are hostile to Israel and us, but also the Muslim Brotherhood that is ascendant throughout the region at the moment, Turkey and the like. But we have also diminished our own country in the process, and all of that, I'm afraid, really sets the stage for another cataclysm, one that could have been avoided.
Frank, what specifically has President Obama done that's undermined Israel and fractured our friendship with them?
Well, a lot of things. I think, reviling Benjamin Netanyahu in the most public and demeaning way. I think insisting that Israel has to stop settlements even where it's a question of adding on an extra bedroom for the natural growth in existing communities, including in Israel's own capital. Insisting that Israel must recede to armistice lines in 1949 that history has shown are indefensible. And announcing last year at the United Nations that within a year there needed to be a Palestinian state. I mean, in all of these ways, he has signaled that there is real daylight between the United States and Israel. And unfortunately, what we know about Israel's enemies and ours in the region is that's all it takes to get them thinking once again, now the moment has arrived where at long last they can drive the Jews into the sea, as they've said they intend to do for decades.
You know, Frank, having said that, what do you make of American Jews who feel like the president's doing a pretty good job? You know, after his presentation at the UN this week, there was a local newspaper that had a glowing article about how he made it was fantastic and he's solidly on the side of Israel. Are they aiding and abetting the president's mistakes?
I'm afraid that a lot of Jews in America are simply blind to what is going on here. They regard themselves as Democrats first, Jews second. And by the way, I think supporters of Israel may be a distant third. The concern I have is that there's been a kind of jiu-jitsu, Charles, that's taken place. It's really quite extraordinary over the years. In the 1967 and even the 1973 wars, the last of the terrible wars for the existence of Israel, Israel was regarded as the David to the Arab Goliath. But the Palestinians have, with a lot of help from their friends, including, I'm afraid, some Jews, certainly some other leftists in America, transformed Israel into the Goliath to the Palestinians' David. And in so doing, they've really skewed the underlying reality, which is that Israel is in desperately outgunned and endangered state. And we reinforce the belief of its enemies that its destruction can be accomplished without our interference at their peril, I believe, in Israel and certainly at ours.
All right, Frank Gaffney, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.